You wake up every morning believing that today will be shaped by your choices. What you say, what you avoid, what you pursue, and what you become all seem to depend on your will. This belief feels so natural that questioning it almost feels meaningless. And yet, when examined closely, free will begins to dissolve. From the outside, your decisions appear intentional. From the inside, they feel personal. But neuroscience tells a different story. Long before you become consciously aware of a choice, your brain is already at work. Electrical signals fire, neural pathways activate, and outcomes begin to form. Experiments have shown that the brain can predict a decision seconds before the person feels they have made it. Conscious awareness arrives late, as if it were reading a script already written. This raises an unsettling possibility. What if consciousness is not the author of your actions, but merely the observer? What if the feeling of choice is not the cause of your decisions, but a story your brain tells after the decision has already been made? Consider how little of yourself you actually chose. You did not choose your genes. You did not choose your parents, your culture, your childhood environment, or the early experiences that shaped your personality. You did not choose the fears that trigger you or the desires that motivate you. Every preference you have is the result of countless factors acting on you long before you were aware of them. If every thought arises from a prior cause, then every decision is part of an unbroken chain of events. In such a universe, if time were reversed and replayed exactly the same way, you would make the same choice again. There would be no room for deviation, no moment where you could have chosen otherwise. And yet, you feel responsible. You feel guilt when you hurt someone, even if you did not intend to. You feel pride when you succeed, even if circumstances favored you. You feel regret over past decisions, imagining alternative paths that were never truly available. This emotional experience of responsibility is deeply real, even if free will itself may not be. Here lies the paradox. If free will does not exist, then blame and punishment appear unjust. How can someone be held responsible for actions they were never truly free to avoid? But if responsibility disappears, society itself begins to collapse. Laws, morality, and trust all depend on the assumption that individuals have control over their actions. We are trapped between two uncomfortable truths. On one side, science suggests that freedom is an illusion. On the other, human life becomes unlivable without it. Some argue that free will does not require freedom from causality. Instead, it requires alignment between actions and internal states. You may not choose your desires, but when your actions reflect who you are, that may be enough to count as freedom. Others argue that free will exists not in individual decisions, but in long-term patterns. The ability to learn, adapt, and change behavior over time may be the closest thing to freedom we ever have. Still, this does not fully resolve the tension. If your capacity to change is itself determined by biology and environment, then even growth is not chosen. Every improvement becomes another link in the chain, yet something refuses to disappear. Even if your choices are determined, they still matter. Your actions still affect others. Suffering is still real. Love is still real. Meaning still emerges from experience, even if it was never freely chosen. Perhaps free will is not about escaping cause and effect. Perhaps it is about participation. You are not outside the system making choices from nowhere. You are inside it, influencing and being influenced at the same time. The fact that your decisions are caused does not make them meaningless. It makes them part of the structure of reality itself. The paradox remains unresolved. You may not be as free as you believe, but you are not a passive observer either. You are a process unfolding through time, shaped by forces you did not choose, yet still capable of reflection, compassion, and responsibility. And maybe that is the final irony. Even if free will is an illusion, it is an illusion we cannot escape. We must live as if our choices matter, because the moment we stop doing so, the world becomes unbearable. So the question is no longer whether free will exists. The real question is this: if your choices are determined, what kind of person do you want those causes to shape?